I'm great. This is Scott from Alice, Sweet Alice. How are you, Angela?
Good. I'm great. If you want to start by telling us a little bit about Alice, Sweet Alice and who you are in the band and the members of the band.
Sure. Well, Alice, Sweet Alice has been around for this year. Actually, last year was our 10th year, so we're going on our 11th year. And I'm the band's founder, and I'm the bass player and sometimes singer. I started out singing, but I always loved female fronted bands. So I went and got a female singer, and that's what we pretty much did. We had a bit of a rebanding as far as lineup changes. So we have a new singer named Liza Jean, myself on bass. We have Shadron Dennis on guitar, Matthew Rosenthal on guitar, Felix Theo Wren on keyboards and backing vocals, and Bailey Feeling on drums. So we're a six-piece band, and we're just having a lot of fun. I think this is like one of the best lineups this band has ever had. So we're real excited and getting some really great shows.
Well, great. That's great. Now, where did the name Alice, Sweet Alice come from?
Well, a long time ago, I used to have stupid movie night with a friend of mine, and it was like dumb horror movies and stuff. And one of the movies we watched was called Alice, Sweet Alice. And it was just this campy kind of just strange horror movie, and it had Brooke Shields in it. It's like, I think it was her first film, actually. And I just carried that name around with me, and I was like, every time I, get into a band situation, they were looking for a name. I'm like, hey, how about this? And they're like, no, that sucks. So it took me a long time to finally start my own project and use that name. And it's been our name since 2007. So there it is. And we can't change it now because it's too late. So.
Well, I like it. It's cool.
Thanks. It's one of those names that kind of people kind of think they've heard of before, maybe because of the movie. I don't know. But so it kind of works to our benefit a little bit.
Well, that's cool. Now, what kind of, you guys are obviously rock music.
Yep.
And I know this is a question that most bands hate, but if you had to classify yourself as a subgenre of rock music, what would you guys classify yourself as?
Probably like post-punk, even with a little bit of punk, indie, alternative, although alternative is such a huge umbrella these days. But I would say, a lot of people say that we sound, kind of like 90s rock, a mix of, some of the quote-unquote best 90s rock and some 80s electronica we throw in there too. So, we don't limit ourselves as far as what we do musically. We don't really have like a particular sound, although I was told by a producer just a few days ago that even though a lot of our songs kind of sound different, there's still this undercurrent of style that we definitely have. So, in a sound. So whatever that sound is, I would probably put it, it's definitely in the rock category, alternative, indie, post-punk type genres.
So who do you guys collectively, who do you guys think are bands that have influenced your sound or bands that influence your music overall?
Well, so many. I mean, I personally listen to so many different kinds of music, and I find things in many different genres that I particularly like. I mean, everything from funk to classic rock to punk rock and some metal and things like that. Lately, I've been listening a lot to Mastodon and Smashing Pumpkins and Russian Circles and some of that harder stuff. But I love stuff like some of the shoegaze stuff, Slow Dive and Cocteau Twins and stuff like that too. So. And then I love, like things like Massive Attack and some of that trip hop kind of stuff too. So, we just take, elements of music that we like, and we just use it, I mean, even things like Pink Floyd, and that's pretty much just what we try to do. We don't really limit ourselves. We don't say, okay, no, we can't have, mellotron in the song because it's not really us, or we can't have violin or cello or xylophone. It's just nothing that we've ever really said. It's just all about creating really cool sounds and songs that are cohesive and that are compelling to people. So that's pretty much us in a nutshell.
Definitely cool. Now, when you guys do perform live, what is your favorite thing about performing live? I know you guys have did a lot of shows in just the past couple months, and I know Rock Rage has been at your shows too. So, what's your favorite? Yeah, Jenny, what is your favorite thing about performing live?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's all about meeting the people and making that connection. And there's no greater high to me than seeing people in the front row connecting with you, watching you, smiling and it's awesome. I mean, that's the best part of it for me. Sharing the music that we love and that we believe in with people that get it, that are getting into it. You know what I mean? That's really just the best. And then, playing with each other and it sounds good and it's a complete visceral experience, an out-of-body experience. And, and that's maybe why we've been playing a lot. Because I didn't used to enjoy it as much just because, it's a lot of work too, But after I put all that aside, all of the setup and sound checking and, there's a lot of promotion and marketing and all that stuff involved with it too. But I've really come to just enjoy the entire process because throughout that process, I'm constantly meeting new people, making new connections, making new fans, and I just love it, And we're one of those bands that it's just like we will talk to anybody. They email us, they Facebook message us, Twitter. We always respond to messages. I just think that that's so important. You know what I mean? And we will always do that, even if we get like quote unquote big or whatever. We'll figure out a way to get back to everybody. I just think it's so important. Because it's the people that listen to us that contribute to our success. We like to call our fans ASA Army, which is entirely original, but it's kind of how it is. People are boots on the ground, or we're on the street, and when they share our music and tell other people about it, and they come to our shows and bring friends, I mean, it's just all part of it,
And you guys are supportive. I've seen you on Facebook, especially supporting other bands. How do you think that helps? Do you think that social media helps, or do you think it hinders?
Well, I think it can be used as a tool, just like anything else, and it's certainly easier because of social media to network and connect and post and market. Absolutely. It's an invaluable tool because I've been doing this for a long time. Since the late 80s, I've been in bands. So back in the late 80s, it was just, definitely boots on the ground, putting flyers up around town, everywhere around venues, and maybe you put an ad in a local rag or something like that to get people out, and then it's, hopefully word of mouth, and, you tell your fans about it, mailing lists and things like that. A lot of those old techniques still apply today. I still think it's important. We still flyer around town. We still contact our fan base via email and social media in a lot of those ways now too. I even use social media like, we do Facebook events, right? And people click going or interested or whatever. Well, a couple of days before that show, people tend to make last-minute decisions on what they're going to do. So I will go through personally and go to every single one of those people that have clicked interested, and I will ask them. I'll remind them about the show, saying I'd love for them to come, tell them who I am, tell them to come up and say hello, that type of thing. And that has really super worked. Just that personal touch. And I do it from and I mean, for instance, one time we were playing up in Des Moines, and we're in Kansas City, which is about 3.5 hours to the south. Well, we haven't played up in Des Moines all that much, so one time when we played up there, I did exactly that. I went on the Facebook event, contacted a bunch of people, and this one girl, she said, "Oh yeah, well I was kind of wondering what to do," and so she ended up coming. She brought some friends with her, and now every time we go up to Des Moines, we can expect her and a bunch of people to show up, just because of that one time I reached out to her. I made the extra effort to do that.
That is awesome.
And that's happened more than once. This is just one example. But I just think it's so important to make that personal connection with people, and it's so easy to do with social media. And that's why I say it's really gotten a lot more helpful But, it's a tool, and if you use it wisely and if you don't abuse it, and as long as you don't just say, hey, listen to this or hey, do this or something, constantly telling people without offering them something for doing it, keep it interesting. I think it can really work. I'm not a marketing genius. This is just kind of what I've found that has worked for us. And, we're always up for finding new ideas for stuff. But, I just try to use it to make that connection with people, because that's ultimately, the listeners and fans are who I am taking it to. So
I think that is an awesome idea. And as a fan and going to shows since the 90s myself, I can't, imagine how cool that would be to have one of, a band contact you, someone from the band contact you and say, hey, I want you to show up to my show. I think that's such a great idea.
And what are the chances you would go if that happened?
Well, that would mean if I was wavering not going, that would definitely mean that I would go right then and there.
Yeah, it would probably push you over the edge. So that's kind of my idea too, is, because there's so much going on sometimes, especially like in Kansas City. There's a lot to choose from, and for them to come out, take time out of their life, pay money to get, come out and see you, that's kind of a big thing. You know what I mean? People taking time out of their life to come and see you. So we don't take that for granted ever. I just think that that's so cool, and we're very appreciative of everyone that does that. So, and when they do that, our job is to put on a great show. So that's what we were doing here tonight, busting ass and rehearsing and making sure everything's tight, because we want to give them their money's worth. So It's just, but none of this is revolutionary ideas or anything. It's just good old-fashioned rock and roll practice, So we just try to. I guess we're kind of old school, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think you're taking old school ideas and mixing it in, with what people thrive on now, and that's social media, and it sounds simple, but I would have never thought to do that. That's, like I said, a great idea, because, like I said, those fans want
simple, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it.
Definitely.
I mean, it's a lot of work getting a show anyway, just one show. You have to contact the venue or a bunch of venues with one particular date in mind. Maybe a few of them get back to you, and then you have to try to figure out. Then you have to get bands and do all the marketing flyers. It's just so much work. So I'm going to go through all that work. Well, I want to make sure that people show up.
Right. Yes.
So just another extra hour or so is not going to kill you. Just get in there and do it. And I swear even if you get one person from doing that, it's totally worth it.
Well, and word of mouth travels quickly too. So even if that one person, you put them over the edge and they decided to go, and that's going to spread like wildfire too. I mean, they're going to tell their friends, and that's behind the scenes stuff that you might not even see coming, but I'm sure it has already. So
I hope. I mean, like I said, we're just friendly people. We're people just like everybody else. We like to go out and have a good time, and the more the merrier, as far as we're concerned. So
definitely. Now, you said you've been in bands since the 80s. How do you think the rock music scene has changed over the years? Do you think it's become more difficult to, quote, quote, make it or get yourself out there? Or just, for example, I live in a small town. I live in Illinois, and we don't even have any rock radio stations around here whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So places like Rock Rage Radio are such a huge thing, because I mean, we play so many different genres of rock music, and there's no choice. We don't have choices here. We have country. So
oh wow.
And that's really all we have, and that's the predominant thing around here. So do you think that it has become harder for a rock band, or do you think that has become easier to get yourselves out there?
I definitely think it's harder in a lot of ways, just because everyone and their third cousin have ways to record these days, and the market is just so saturated. And I think for a while there, I don't really know if it's happening quite as much, is that venues would really focus on like ticket sales instead of quality. So there was a time there when, and it might still be happening in places, and I understand the venues wanting to make money, but when you have bands selling, 20 tickets that are awful, showing up and playing on stage, nobody wants to come out and get in the door and listen to that. You never know what you're going to get. Back in the 80s, it was when we got a show, we had to give the venue a demo tape, and if we weren't any good, we weren't going to be playing that. The venue was just like, keep trying, get better, and then contact us, because they were destination venues. They were music clubs, and every band up there had to have their act together and be awesome, because especially back then, people, that was what they were going to do that evening, and they didn't want the people to leave. They wanted them to hang out and drink. They wanted the ticket, but they wanted people to be entertained all night. They wanted them to stay there all night, so the music had to be good all night. Well, I think if more places did that these days, you might get more people out. So we started running these things called ASA Masquerades, and they're kind of like our own we're kind of acting as our own promoter. So we're putting shows together, and that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm screening some of the best hardworking bands that market and promote themselves, and those are the bands that I want to work with. So, that's one thing I'm doing. The other thing is, when people come out, and that's so much more important now, is because people have so many distractions than they did, say, back in the 80s. There was no internet back in the 80s. You didn't have your phone to entertain you. You barely had, a video game at home to entertain you. You had to go out. So people now, they don't really have to go out as much anymore to be entertained. So we're competing against that as well. So the world in those regards have changed. But I think what hasn't changed is the fact that people love music still. And I think if you do it well, and you take it to the people, kind of old school style, I just definitely think that you can start broadening your audience. But people have to really not take that type of thing for granted. So, it's just like, a hybrid approach is what I like to call it. A little bit of old school and old school and new school together.
Right.
But at the end of the day, everything has to be firing on all cylinders when you play live. Make sure your equipment's in good shape. Make sure you're rehearsed and go out there and kick ass.
Definitely.
If more bands did that, I think you'd get more people in clubs. Instead of people sitting there in the back row watching YouTube while there's bands on stage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe it's just me. I don't know, but that's kind of what I've observed in the past 10 years since I've been doing Alice with Alice. I took a break for a while from music. And when I came back, a lot had changed. So, it's you have to the times change, and you have to change with the times. But I think at the end of the day, those old school values and those old school techniques, and the fact that music still resonates with people will never change.
I agree, definitely. Now, what can fans expect at an Alice Sweet Alice show? What kind of show do you guys put on? Well, that's something that's constantly in development. We don't like run around and jump around on stage a lot. We're not like a real showy band like that. We just try to get up and play our songs well and passionately and have fun. And our lead singer, Liza, she's really great at working the crowd and getting up there and talking to people and stuff. And it's kind of just an interactive experience. We just like to have fun. We also incorporate some lights and things like that. Again, that's just one of the things we're just constantly working on. But ultimately, we just like to go up there and just play a really solid set. And then before and after we play, to hang out and talk with people, and have fun and just party it up. Right.
That's kind of what to expect.
Now,
we won't be going to the backstage after the gig. We'll be out and talking to people.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I'm sure the fans appreciate that immensely.
Well, we appreciate it because it's fun. It's fun meeting people. So
Right.
I'm just a people person, I guess. I never really thought I was, but I enjoy it. It's fun.
Right. I agree. It is. And usually, I'm sure in most cases, the fans or the people that you meet, you have a shared interest in music, and that helps networking as well. So
Well, certainly. Nothing bad could ever come from it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You meet people, you might even meet, a club owner that's looking for a gig, a month down the line or something, or, a celebrity might be there, or another band from out of town might be on tour and they might see you. You just never know, so that's why we try to play every show like it's our last one. You just never know what's going to happen. So, and there's, and the old adage rings true. It's, you only get one chance to make a first impression.
That's true. It's definitely true.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, do you guys have a tour planned for 2018 coming up, or what are your plans for this 2018?
We still have the first thing is to get our album re-released. With our new lineup, we hit a bit of a snag in 2016. We regrouped, and so we're releasing our album that we released in 2016, which was Viola Organista and Other Impossible Dreams. And we're reworking it mostly because of the new people and because the songs have just gotten better. They've developed. So it's just going to be better. It's going to be, with our new group. And so we're going to re-release that. And once that happens, the shows that we have played and are playing are kind of warm-up gigs. So we're pursuing some opportunities from between Chicago and New Orleans around. We're looking at something in Nashville during NAMM and just around, just so we can start, getting out there.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing we want to do is just start playing more often in like a 50-mile radius of where we're at right now, just so we can really polish our act, get really tight, and kind of act locally a little bit. Even though we act locally but think globally, in that we have our stuff available everywhere online, pretty much every country right now. But still, it's like we want to really work on our live show. That's something we've done in the past, but I just think that this is the best lineup we've ever had, and this is the best we've ever played live too. So we're really focusing on that right now. We really want to partner up with other great acts. In fact, we're playing with Icon for Hire on November 6th here in Kansas City. So we're starting to get some bigger opportunities. And so we're looking at those. And, again, we're going to be doing our masquerades so we can kind of take the bull by the horns and do our own thing. And those masquerades, too, are ways for us to network locally with artists from not only different musical genres but different mediums. We have artists, we have acrobats come in. It's just a completely interactive experience. When you come to an ASA masquerade, it's a costume party. They're always theme parties. And, in fact, Jeannie was at the last one. That one was we call it the Macabre Carnival after our upcoming album, and everybody dressed in circus garb, and it was so much fun. And, we had some burlesque performers. We had these people doing, like, spark performances and all that stuff, but we want to make it so that people will have stuff to do all night. We've had photo booths in the past, just things like that. A lot of fun things, and it gives local artisans a platform to promote themselves, and in turn, it promotes us because the people that I have involved, they really great at promotion, and so it helps everybody. So, it's like if you can work and network with people in town that are like-minded, it's just going to be, great for everyone. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do. So kind of keeping it a little bit more focused in this particular area right now, probably over the next 8 months. And then once that happens, we'll be thinking about also branching out a little bit more. So that's kind of the initial plan. Sorry for the long answer.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. Now, if you could set up the ultimate tour and speak to any bands out there that you would like to go just build this ultimate tour on, that Alice Sweet Alice could be on, what bands would you just want to go on tour with? You would just scoop it up right away.
Oh, man, that is so hard. Oh my gosh, are you talking like about like big bands or
anyone?
Like,
Anyone?
oh my God, that is so tough. Gosh, talk about put me on the spot. I don't know.
Well, you never know who's listening, so you never know.
All of us would, yeah, exactly. All of us would have different answers, I'm sure. But I mean, I love Russian Circles. Russian Circles, Mastodon. Even though those are kind of metal bands, gosh, I'm trying to think who else would. I love the Pixies. I mean, if we could like open for the Pixies, that'd be awesome. Just they're so. In fact, I just saw them play. Was it 3-4 months ago here in Kansas City? And oh my God, it was so much fun. But I don't know. That's a really, really super hard question. So, but basically any band that I was going to say any band that kind of has the same, work ethic as we do, but I mean, if they're out there playing, they probably do. So that was an awful answer. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. Now, you guys have a pretty big music scene in Kansas, right? Like, especially where you're at. Is there a pretty huge rock music scene?
It has historically, but it almost seems like there's like kind of like a hole in this town right now. It's like there's not like a really big local band. So I don't know, maybe it's us. I have no idea. But it just feels like we have everything to gain by kicking ass in this town right now. Right. So we're just there's something happening, and I can feel it, and more than I ever have in the past. People from the past are getting a hold of us. People like our likes have gone up, our contacts have gone up. We're starting a street team here in town, and that kind of just fell into our lap. There was this I'm not going to say what the name of the national group was of women that get together and they dress really nice and they promote and that type of thing. Well, they're kind of starting their own called Alice's Angels. And I kind of came up with the name kind of in jest. I was like, kind of like thinking about Charlie's Angels. And They liked it. I was like, oh my God. So, but they wouldn't only work our shows, they would work for other bands, kind of like the whole Masquerade idea.
Right.
Like bands that just want to get out there. They want to work hard. They want to promote. They want to take it to the people. Those are the kind of bands that we want to align with. We want to align with not only bands, but people in the music scene, in the press, things like that. So that's kind of what we're going after. So it seems like we're just, people are interested in working with us right now. And that's awesome. I love that, especially if they're hardworking and passionate, because we definitely are. And it's just exciting,
Right.
So it's just, I'm feeling really optimistic. We're writing some really great music. We have a bunch of new things that are coming up, and it's like, I almost wish that we weren't redoing the other album. It's almost done though. We're putting the finishing touches because we have this new material we're just dying to sink our teeth into. So that's probably what we're going to do in March. Actually, is we're going to take a few weeks off in March and just completely delve into new material. So we're actually going to have a brand new song that we're debuting at Icon for Hire on March 6th. So
awesome.
Getting there.
Well, definitely.
But we'll definitely be sending it to Rock Rage Radio for sure. Once we get it recorded, you guys are getting it first. I'm saying that here right now.
That's awesome. We appreciate
Actually, Rock Rage
that.
Radio, you guys have been so supportive. I mean, a bunch of you guys from all over the country. It's like, I just love you guys. It's like, where were you like a few years ago?
Well, that's what we want to do. I mean, we want to support music, and I know just primarily, I can speak for myself. Just it resonates just to support bands, and I was talking to another band, and it sounds so simple. If you like music, comment, share it, do what you can to get it out to other people. It's just little things just like that, and I think we try to do that. We try to get that music out there to everyone, and there's such a gamut of rock music genres, subgenres, everything in between that, we try to get out for everybody because not everyone likes the same stuff, and we want to get you guys out there.
And that's exactly kind of what we're doing with our masquerades, too, is that it's not all bands that sound like us. You know what I mean? It's because when I go to a show, I don't want to hear, like, unless you're a metalhead, I mean, that's what you want to hear all night. You want your face to peel off, basically.
Right.
That's what you want. But, it seems like everybody but metalheads, they like to have a little bit of variety. So that's kind of what we like to do, And, again, going back to the very beginning of this conversation, my musical taste is so varied. I listen to so many different things. I appreciate music of many different genres, and so I love supporting other artists and other genres, and I love being able to give them a platform. And people that like that type of music, they're usually most people don't like just one type of music. Right. So they're going to come to a show, and chances are they're going to like all the different bands. You know what I mean? So it makes for a more interesting evening. So.
Now, how did you come up with the concept for the masquerades? And tell us a little bit about how people in the area can come see your masquerades, or how you guys promote it, or do you guys have a website? Is it just on Facebook? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, how we came up with the masquerades is because we love Halloween and love dressing up. So it's like, well, how can we make Halloween last all year? So we just said, okay, well, we're going to have costume parties because people love to dress up. We wanted to make an opportunity for people to come out and do more than just see music and drink. We wanted it to be a fun, like more of a party. In fact, when I promote them, I don't put like concert. I put that it's a party. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of how that came about. But we always promote them on our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/Alice Sweet Alice, on our main website, and you can get tickets on our main website for some of these events. Our main website is AliceSweetAlice.com. We tweet those out, or you can actually become a patron. We have a Patreon too, and you get like discount tickets and all kinds of really cool behind-the-scenes things. If people want to check it out, it's patreon.com/Alice Sweet Alice. If they want to check that out, you can become part of our ASA Army for like $1 a month, and you're going to get, you probably get a pre-release of the album that we have now. You'll probably get some of our old albums. You'll be able to, depending on the level that you choose, you could like tune into a band practice, into a songwriting session. I think there's even a thing where you could like maybe, contribute lyrics even. It's just our singer Liza came up with some really cool rewards, but it's just a way that you can get involved with us, because like I said, we love getting involved with our fans, but if, you want to make a more interactive experience with Alice Sweet Alice, definitely go to our Patreon. Again, it's patreon.com/Alice Sweet Alice. There's also a link on AliceSweetAlice.com. But definitely follow us on Facebook because you'll get because I don't think if you follow bands, you don't really see them in feed. You have a better chance of seeing what's going on. But we promote everything off of that, and Twitter. Twitter again it's Twitter.com/Alice Sweet Alice. Everything's Alice Sweet Alice. We're pretty lucky that we got that. So it's pretty simple. And then there's a bunch of cool stuff on our YouTube, and that's the only one that's Alice Sweet Alice USA. YouTube.com/Alice Sweet Alice USA. Actually, we just made a little video, which is kind of like a little mini movie for our song Strange Things that's going to be on our upcoming album. It's kind of like this little storyline that Liza Jean came up with, and so it's kind of fun. It's like 6-7 minutes long, but it's not all a music video. It's pretty cool. So, but yeah, it's called Strange Things Movie, if people want to check that out. So that was a lot of fun. We did it like on 3 different locations. We did some live shots. It was a trip. We'd never really filmed like a movie before. So talk about grassroots. Yeah, it was fun. So we're definitely going to do that a lot more. But if you're a Patreon, you could like maybe be an extra or something. You know what I mean? Just totally get involved. So.
Those are some awesome opportunities for fans. I mean, that's
I would
amazing.
totally do that. You know, like say like I've been listening to the hell out of Mastodon lately. If they had something like that, I would be all okay. I'm signing up. I would totally.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm a fan too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I try to look at it from a fan's perspective. Okay, if I was a fan of this band, what would I like? You know what I mean? And so that's what I like to try to provide. You know what I mean? So because, when I was a kid, I come up, I'm kind of old school. I used to sit there on the bed with my vinyl, and I used to pore over every square inch of that vinyl while I'm listening to the record or while I'm playing my bass. And it was just like, that was my world, right? So it's like my biggest reward would be for our music to become the soundtrack of somebody's life. And occasionally we hear from people, and they tell us exactly that, and I that's like the pinnacle for me. When somebody tells us that such and such song got them through a particular period or something like that. I mean, you just can't. It just doesn't get any better than that. So, I mean, we make the music for ourselves because we love doing it, because we have to do it. But when our music, something that we love, could help someone in their experience, it's just awesome. I feel like I've succeeded in that way, every time it happens.
Of course, yeah, because your music, anybody, and this is how I look at it too. These bands, and this is why we share what we do and post and like and comment and do all the things we can do to share for these bands, because they play an integral role in my life every day. Bands play, you're in a bad mood, you play music. You're in a good mood, you play music. So, and that's what you guys in essence do as well. You play a part in these people's lives, and you don't even know, and that could be quite the experience to have a fan tell you that.
Well, it's kind of a huge responsibility too in some ways. I didn't really realize that until one day. It was a few years ago. We had this fan in Germany, and he took a picture of himself, and he had an ASA tattoo.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I was like, my heart stopped for a second, because I never even really thought about anything like that happening.
Right.
But I was just like, somebody liked us enough to get a tattoo on their arm because they like our music that much. And that was just like kind of a revelation to me. So even if it was just one person, that's a huge responsibility. And so it made me want to do better. It made it made me want to not let them down for everything I do. And that's why it kind of fueled the fire a little bit. So everything we do, again, we try to do like it's our last thing. We try to play every show like it's our last. When we release a song, I don't know how I could make it any better when I do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just inspirational. So our fans inspire us too in that way. So
definitely,
it's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we need everybody listening. We need you too. We definitely need you as much as you need us.
Definitely. So fans and people who aren't fans yet, check out Alice Sweet Alice. Check out their Facebook page, their website, and like, comment, share. Tell your friends. Let's get that music out there that we love.
Alice Sweet Alice will talk to you, and we would love for you to be in our family. Just join. You don't have to even give us any money. Just listen to our music, share it, and enjoy it. Definitely.
Good advice. Now, is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't covered, or any promotions, anything you want to promote, anything you want to talk about?
Well, other than the album that's coming out, it's Viola Organista, the Macabre Carnival. It's going to be a 10-song album. Hopefully we'll have on-demand vinyl available, because I'm a huge vinyl freak. I have been for many, many years. So glad it's coming back. So we might have some pre-purchase options available. I'm actually working on that right now. So that's hopefully going to be ready. My goal is to have it ready by March 6th. Liza Jean still has to come in and finish one more vocal track, and then I have to get really busy with mixing. We do all of our own recording, mixing, all that stuff. I've been doing it for a super long time, and I do it for other bands as well. But aside from that album coming out, Our Patreon is huge. You know, that just really helps us out a lot. It helps us not only keep going, but it helps us be more responsive to all of our listeners and more interactive. And again, that's Patreon.com/AliceVialis. You know, follow us on Facebook. There's a lot going on. We're going to have some new videos coming up, and just keep your eyes on us. We're just kind of getting going again, and we're starting to. It's like we're rolling downhill. We're picking up speed. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, thank you. I thank you for coming on the show. I welcome you back anytime you have anything you want to talk about or shows you want to promote or show flyers you want to send me and I can share it, or music, you send it over to me and we'll get it out there to everybody, okay?
Thank you so much, Angela. Really appreciate that. Thanks for everybody for supporting Alice, Sweet Alice. And again, please, you know, talk to us anytime. We reply to everyone. We love hearing from you. And